white ladies and a bottle of wine, mama. Ooh, feeling good, mama.
Well, there was a time long ago when dyed hair looked dyed. It was exactly the same on top, underneath, and often grays turned into a lovely bluish hue. We're not sure if any of this prompted our next guest to change the landscape forever, but change it she did. Ana Karzis, welcome to What She Said.
Hi.
Hi.
Such a pleasure.
Now, what some of our listeners may not know is that you are an Aveda Global Master, an international reputation. You're known everywhere as a pioneer. What does that mean, an Aveda Global Master, and how did it come to be?
From the beginning, I was bestowed an honor years ago, about 25 years ago, to help them create a color line for consumers. Mm-hmm. And so they honored us with a global master. I don't know if I am a master of global, but I sure know how to color hair. But yeah, Aveda, about 25 years ago, it was quite a unique thing because nobody else was doing a hair color line that was based from plants and real pigments and natural hair color.
Other than henna, which was big.
That's right.
Henna, yeah.
That's right. That's right. And it used to burn my hands, actually, henna.
Really?
So when you think about it, there was a lot of people that were allergic to hennas. I couldn't touch it back in the day in 1979, 1980.
So were you 5 years old saying, I can't stand Grandma's blue hair. I'm going to do something about this one day. How did this happen that you got into this?
You know what, Christine? It's a very funny story. My mom and I were talking this morning, and, I said, Mom, I'm going on to my 38th year in hair color. Of course, I started when I was 5. But she said to me...
No, I think you were 4.
I'll take 4. But she said to me, I always knew that you were going to become a hair colorist because every time she had bought me a doll, I would go into the bathroom and take back then, the frosty nail polishes, and I would literally paint my doll's hair. And so one doll after the other, and she goes, that's where it all started from. I had no idea about I would become a hair colorist. I wanted to become a doctor.
Well, you're a doctor of hair.
Yeah, of course.
So tell us what do you remember, as far back as you can remember, what's your worst memory of what colored hair looked like then? Because it's very much changed.
Oh, my goodness. I think kids today have it so much easier. Back in the day, I remember our product was so debilitating. And I remember caps and pulling out hair.
Oh, yeah.
A highlighted cap. You looked like
a tight little, it was like a swim cap
right?
with a lovely rubber thing and
Yes.
then the crochet hooks pulling
That's
the hair
right.
out.
That's right.
Been there, done that.
But as an assistant, nobody knew that as you were pulling out the rubber cap, half of the hair would come out with the rubber cap, and you had to kind of keep it on a low key and not have
on
the
the
client.
down low.
No, so that was extremely scary for me. And I remember thinking to myself, about 15, 16 years old, there's got to be another way.
But not only that, color was it was sort of black,
Yes.
dark brown, light brown, blonde.
Yes.
I mean, there was
Peroxide blonde.
And then there was peroxide blonde, and then
Yeah.
there was,
Yeah.
But there was very little in between, and it looked unnatural.
Yeah. Yeah. I think if I go back 38 years, my job back then was always trying to create something that was, today I understand it as being customized, but back then I didn't know that. So I would play around with what products I had. But it was easy back then. You knew the color. You'd pick a 7 and you'd put a 7 on everybody.
Right.
But today it's far more of an artistic approach.
So what are you trying to achieve with your clientele? How do you work with them?
My clients are, I have wonderful relationships with people. I don't think I could do people's hair just as, per se, a client. I have to know something about them, and knowing what their personality is or what they do for a living. That relationship is built, and then you built on trust, and you see people in a holistic way. And what I mean by that is you see the whole person. So my clients have always been used to me looking at them and going, okay, well, 10 years ago we had this. Where are we today? and your hair, especially hair color, should follow along.
I've always wondered, as an artist, people walk in, and I'm sure you look at them and say, "This is what I see for Kate or for Christine." Let's say.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Christine sees something else, and Kate sees something else. How do you bridge that gap?
By listening to that individual. This is a major one problem that we have in our industry. People don't listen to your needs. And we bridge it by making suggestions, showing them visuals. And I don't mean those color charts. I mean visuals. Let's say a person comes in and they've always wanted red hair. Well, my red and Kate's red or your red, Christine, are totally different.
Which is funny that you say that because this is the problem I have. I talk about I want bronze, copper, fall leaf kind of highlights, and I end up with blonde highlights. So somebody's color of copper is different than what I think is
Absolutely.
copper.
That's
so
why
I always bring in a photograph and I say,
Perfect.
This. Is that a good thing to do?
I encourage people to bring in photographs. I've even had a client a couple of weeks ago that brought in her a dog picture.
Do you want her hair to
Irish
match the
Terrier.
dog? Perfect color, right?
It was great. I thought, okay, I get it. But if there's not a visual communication, forget the verbal. You have to have that, when you're consulting with that individual, have them point out what kind of reddy brown fall color do you like. Even if it's a piece of wood, it's going to give the stylist an idea of what your likes are, and then have them pick something that they don't want. And so there is where the bridging comes in.
So after all your years, what are the most common color mistakes that people let themselves either make or let themselves be talked into? Because I remember a day when you went in and you didn't say a word. The colorist just told you what you were going to have.
Yeah.
And very often the cut too.
Yeah. I've never
You've never worked that
been-
way, no.
No, I really feel, again, going back to the relationship.
We're dating ourselves here, but
I mean, I worked with a lot of hairdressers that didn't care about that individual, and just if perms were in, you all had a perm. But going back to your
Christine
See, I
had a
see-
perm.
I see the laughs.
no, you can see
I had
it.
a perm.
It's commemorated for eternity.
See, this is why they call it permanent. It's there forever.
It's in Madonna's Truth or Dare movie.
Yes.
The very bad perm.
Right?
I
Yes.
can never get rid of it.
Yeah, I know. They either go too dark, or their teenage daughter wants them to have balayage or ombre, which is a very trendy
I
thing.
don't like that look. It always looks to me like the roots have
Grown out.
And that's
grown
the
out.
idea.
My-
Why are you coloring your hair? I always say
know.
the same thing. But, I mean, that's, younger people really love that. And I love doing it. But when you look at a woman and you look at their lifestyle, any color on their head should have dimension. I don't care if you're a redhead, a brunette. There should be dimension. You have to have movement. And that's a big mistake that is made today, that we put this one color on everybody, and from the root to the end, and, we all look alike.
So let's get to the most important question. How can people connect with you?
And how long are you booked up for?
I am always willing and able to see new people. I think that would be a complete suicide if you say, no, I don't take any new clients. They can connect with me. I've joined a wonderful new venture in a partnership with Kearns & Co., with Jason Kearns, who has been a mentor of mine for as long as I can remember. And the group of people I'm working with are just as committed in what they do on a day-to-day basis as I am. And I love meeting new people and keeping your pulse on what the average woman wants.
So all they have to do is find Kearns & Co.,
Yep.
call the number,
Yep.
and make an appointment with you.
Come on in for a consultation. Consultations are free, and off we go.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us
Thank you,
today.
ladies. It's been fun. Thanks so much.
This is what she said. We'll be right back.